Many of you might have seen the front page of the ALTOONA Mirror today. UPMC ALTOONA has dropped its safety score to a C. Just a couple of years ago, we had an A, then a B, and now a C for safety from the nation's leading independent healthcare safety organization. Among the many areas where our hospital is worse than average are in controlling dangerous types of bacterial infections, problems with surgeries, bed sores, patient falls, response times from staff. Let me be clear here. Almost every single one of these things could be addressed through staffing. We're here tonight to send a loud message to UPMC executives to demand that they keep their original promises that were made to our employees and our community back in 2013 when they took over. UPMC executives have broken their promises to invest in our community. We have over 300 fewer nurses than we had back in 2013 when they took over. And most of our safety proposals that we've made in contract negotiations have been repeatedly denied by those executives. It is a fact that healthcare workers suffer more non-fatal injuries than any other profession, including law enforcement. And studies show that with adequate staffing, that could change significantly. Chronic short staffing is breaking our hospitals. Every empty position means less time with our patients, longer waits, delayed care, and exhausted nurses stretched to the limit. When units are running incredibly short, patients suffer and frustrations boil over. Understaffing fuels the anger and anxiety that often turns into violence against the very workers trying to help. Nurses and caregivers are being threatened, punched, kicked, traumatized, while simply trying to do our jobs. Violence is inevitable. It's the result of understaffing, neglect, and lack of accountability by UPMC. We've been talking a lot lately about workplace violence and the injuries sustained by healthcare workers. I want to shed some light on another type of injury, and that is moral injury. Moral injury is more of an internal injury that happens when we're subjected by our employer to working conditions that violate our moral code, our beliefs, and our values as healthcare workers. It creates ethical dilemmas within us, which takes a toll when it happens shift after shift after shift. I mentioned earlier that I transferred out of the ICU last year. That was completely due to moral injury. It was not an easy decision for me to leave my position as a critical care nurse, but I was completely burned out and morally distressed on a regular basis and just couldn't continue to work with the heavy patient loads and short staffing any longer. I wasn't able to give my critical patients and their families the kind of time they deserved, but I also couldn't fathom, and I still can't fathom, leaving my community hospital. The hospital I was born in, my parents and my son were born in, the hospital that I've sat beside so many of my family members in. As the largest healthcare system and private employer in the Commonwealth with hundreds of millions in profits, UPMC has both the resources and the moral responsibility to lead on safety and safe staffing. The CEO made over $11 million just this last fiscal year, flying around on their $50 million luxury jet. So believe me when I say they have the resources to invest in safe staffing and security for ALTOONA. This is our moment to send the loudest, strongest, most powerful message to UPMC executives, and that's why we're here tonight. With that, I'm going to pass it off to one of my fellow co-workers, registered nurse, Kylie Rickner.
Okay. I just want to say good evening to my coworkers and fellow community members. My name is Kylie Richner, and I've worked at UPMC ALTOONA for 5 years, working the last 3 years as a registered nurse within the emergency department, and that is who I am here to represent today. My priority today is that everyone hears the reality of what a nurse in this emergency department goes through every single shift. I choose my words carefully, saying here, because honestly, it's not something that you can fully understand without spending a day in our shoes. Let me set the scene. You're working your 5th 12-hour shift in a row, walking into your nursing team meeting. You hear that you're the only float nurse tonight, the resource nurse who helps out wherever needed. You end up one-to-one with a critical patient. 2 hours of performing life-saving measures before transferring care to your colleagues in the intensive care unit. You're not even able to sit down before you're pulled to care for another patient. They'll be here shortly with EMS, who thinks that they may be experiencing a stroke. Suspected stroke patients need a CT scan within 10 minutes of arrival. If they qualify for life-saving, clot-busting medication, that should be given within 45 minutes of arrival. Time is of the essence. We need you. We don't have anyone else. You're the charge nurse of the unit, responsible for coordinating every movement. There are 88 people checked in for care. You have 37 patient care rooms, but they're all full. You have hallway beds with monitors that are permanently mounted to the wall, which tells you that they're not a temporary fix. It's the new normal. But those are all full too. Your coworkers are at patient ratios that are as high as 1 nurse for 10 patients. And you know how exhausting and unfair that is. The nationally recommended nurse ratio for emergency departments is 1-to-4, which means that you and your coworkers are doing the work of 2 nurses each. You have no beds upstairs to transfer your admitted patients to. Your department is bursting at the seams. It's the end of the shift, but you check in to be evaluated by your coworkers. You were assaulted by a patient during your shift, but you kept working. You think it's just a concussion. There's slight bruising around your eye, and your head has been pounding for hours. But I'm fine, guys. You gladly accept the offer of nausea and headache medication, rushing to get home to sleep it off because you have to be back in a couple of hours. Your coworkers will be screwed if you call off. By now, we are all aware of the situation that occurred within our department last month. Our coworker, our friend, our family, brutally assaulted. You may have heard some of my fellow union members share the statistic that healthcare workers suffer more non-fatal injuries than any other profession, including law enforcement. Healthcare workers are 5 times more likely to be assaulted than any other profession. According to the Emergency Nurses Association, violence against healthcare workers is an epidemic. As nurses, we have responsibility without authority. We are on the front lines, accepting responsibility for the shortcomings of the system that we work for. We apologize for wait times and attempt to provide patients with the best experience possible, despite the lack of resources. We talk until we are blue in the face about the need for adequate staffing to reduce wait times, improve patient care outcomes, and decrease the risk of healthcare workers experiencing violence. However, UPMC has the authority to make the necessary changes. The emergency department is a family of people who all make the choice every day to show up and fight like hell for our patients. We are standing up and calling on UPMC to do the right thing, use their authority as the largest private employer within the state of Pennsylvania with hundreds of millions in profits to invest in and fulfill the promises that they made to this community and our hospital. When one member of our family is affected, we all take the hit, and we are tired of getting beat down. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kylie, for sharing your experiences with us. Up next, we have President of the Blair Bedford Central Labor Council, Bob Kutz.
Good evening. I want to bring something up tonight about broken promises. Right behind us here, the Blair Medical Center, the 5-6 buildings, I'm not sure how many exactly, but in 2018 and 19, I was working with a team of engineers and some building tradesmen about a promised $250 million 10-story addition to this hospital. Where'd it go? I did a little research today with some of my friends from Pittsburgh, and right now in downtown Pittsburgh, they're building what they call the Glass Tower at Presbyterian. It is $1.5 billion. I can't imagine a hospital, 1.5 billion. And they've got so many projects that they've done downtown. They did the Monroeville East, was about $250 million. They did a project, Children's Hospital, the cardiac care, and this is all since 2019, and it was $200 million. And they continue to remodel and do all of Presby's older buildings over and over again. I'm not sure why Altoona has been kind of given the bum's rush, but that's what it feels like to me. And I think we all deserve better. They get great care here, and the number one priority has to be safety. My Lord, what that man went through here, I can't imagine. I mean, I understand the gentleman was, and I use that loosely, 6'11", 245. I mean, that's one big man to try to hold down. And that would take several men to do, and much less have to guard him. I want you to know that organized labor here in the county and across the state is behind you, and we will work with you and do whatever it takes to make this a safe and better facility. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob, for your ongoing support. Next up, we have my fellow RN, Alyssa Saitar.
Hello, everyone. It's really good to see you all out here tonight, standing out here in the cold with us. I appreciate every one of you and all of my coworkers behind me, those who came out on their days off, before their shift, after a shift. Thank you. My name is Alyssa Saitar, and I've worked in the medical field for 12 years. I transitioned into nursing because I've always gravitated towards taking care of others, and I have a gift for talking to people and comforting people. I've been a nurse at UPMC Altoona for nearly 3 years, and just 2 months ago, I transferred out of the intensive care unit due to experiencing constant moral injury, like Jamie had mentioned. Many other nurses have also chosen to leave the ICU for the same reasons. I had arrived as a new nurse and found it was new nurses training even newer nurses while taking care of the most extremely ill patients from our entire region. I would regularly be assigned 3 critically ill patients at once when it's only appropriate for ICU nurses to care for 1 or 2. There was a scarcity of support staff. Patient care technicians, as an example, leaving ourselves to carry out those duties as well. We would frequently be assigned the charge nurse role to coordinate care for our entire unit, and also assigned a rapid response pager, which could require us to leave our unit and patient assignments to respond to emergencies throughout the hospital. Often, we would be absent from the unit for hours at a time, especially if the rapid response was for a stroke patient. In my time at Altoona, I've been screamed at, spit on, slapped, and kicked. When we're understaffed, these types of events occur more frequently and escalate quickly because we're unable to spend the amount of time with the patients that they deserve. Patients and family members have to wait longer for care and get aggravated. We're not able to communicate with them adequately and de-escalate violent situations before they occur. UPMC released a statement recently stating, quote, "Everyone deserves to feel safe at work. We have taken significant ongoing steps to strengthen safety and security across UPMC hospitals and facilities," end quote. And went on to say they have implemented hundreds of improvements, noting active drills, secure rooms, and reduced access points. Then why is it that every time I walk into work for my shift, I see no security and no weapons detection system at the front entrance? Why is it that I'm able to stand in the main lobby for 15 minutes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday and not see a single security member? Why hasn't staff been informed or educated about these secure rooms or reduced access points. Listen to us, UPMC, when we are standing here telling you we don't feel safe. Take our safe staffing and security proposals seriously. Nurses aren't just burning out, we're biologically breaking down, physically, emotionally, mentally, from being understaffed, assaulted, and suffering moral injury. Calling it moral injury then begs the question, who is injuring us? Executives don't want us to ask that question. They want us to believe if we cannot deal with how hard our job is, it must be because of a personal defect or an individual weakness. You lack coping skills. You're not resilient. You haven't ensured you got enough sleep, meditated, completed enough mindfulness activities. But the core issue is being exploited at our job. Nurses see the deadly consequences of every failure in our healthcare system. Each year, our patient population continues to age and get sicker, and we are asked to do more with less. As long as executives keep pointing the finger at us, they don't have to take accountability for how the system exploits us or hurts our patients. We truly are the wounded healers. We are forced to choose between what patients need and what the system allows. Nursing is continually rated as the most trusted profession. We are asking UPMC to trust us nurses when we say we need immediate solutions to the staffing and security crisis. Trust that what we are asking for in our union contract negotiations will lead to staff recruitment, retention, and reduced moral distress, and the care our community deserves. Thank you, and God bless.
That was powerful. Thank you, Alyssa. Up next, we have our SEIU Healthcare Pennsylvania President, Matt Yarnell.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say it is a travesty that we have to stand out here in front of this hospital at the beginning of winter to lift our voices about basic safety for the folks who get up every single day and put their life on the line to make sure this community is safe. That is a shame. Is that a shame? Yes. It is a shame. So we are calling on everyone who has any power to hold anyone accountable in this community and beyond, to hold corporate executives accountable to make sure that these nurses get what they deserve and are heard at the bargaining table. Is that right? Yes. So just on behalf of our union all across Pennsylvania, representing registered nurses, hospital workers, nursing home workers, home care workers, we have the backs of nurses right here at UPMC Altoona. And what happened to Travis Dunn here should be a wake-up call to the UPMC executives, but to every single healthcare executive across this Commonwealth. What has happened here, unfortunately, has happened in York, has happened in Wilkes-Barre, has happened in Pittsburgh. You name the community, has happened in Mount Nittany. You name the community, and there is violence every single day that these nurses and other hospital workers face in these institutions. There's a reason for it. We have seen rapid consolidation of our healthcare institutions, and executives are choosing what is the most glamorous and for-profit care in the most centralized systems, usually in the urban areas, and they are exiting rural Pennsylvania like by the droves. And so we've seen it here. We've seen it divest in rural communities like Altoona. And we know that this is about safe staffing. You cannot have safety in the workplace if there is not enough staff to actually do these jobs. As I understand it, there's at least 300 vacancies of registered nurses in this hospital. That is an outrage. That's why we're hearing stories that you have to work 5 12s in a row. If you've never done this work, just listening to these stories tonight, you know that if you get sick, you got no choice. You got to go to the hospital. This is the hospital you go to. So I don't know about all you, but I want to show up and know that my nurses and the other caregivers that are going to take care of me are thinking about how they're going to save my life and not being worked to the bone and left to fend for themselves. Corporate executives all across the healthcare continuum have turned their backs on healthcare workers and are letting nurses and other caregivers try to both protect the patients and also protect themselves. And that is an outrage. And so I just want to say to all of you, we've got your back. We are going to do everything we can to make sure what happened to Travis Dunn in this institution does not go left unsaid, does not go left unheard. And we are going to be with you in your contract negotiation, but also as we fight statewide across all of Pennsylvania to get to safe staffing limits, because we know you cannot get to safety at work if we don't have the ability to do our jobs and do them well with safe staffing. Is that right? Yeah. So last thing I just want to say is I'm going to do a little chant. I know we're individual, but I just think it's safe staffing now. We're going to do that for a minute. Safe staffing. Now. Safe staffing. Now. Safe staffing. Now. Safe staffing. Now. And we are going to get up every day and have your backs, and you should do whatever it takes. Do not give up. You guys, we heard this from the nurses. You are the most trusted voices. Continue to lift them. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to stand out here in the cold. But guess what? No one's coming to save you. And if you care about this profession, and I know you damn well do, or you wouldn't be standing out here, then you got to stand up. You got to speak up. You got to organize, and we got to make everyone uncomfortable. It doesn't matter. If you're an elected representative, if you're a corporate executive, we got to make people uncomfortable and tell the truth and demand the justice you all deserve, which is safe staffing and paid what you are worth, and make sure this hospital is safe for patients and all of you. Thanks.
Right.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for coming out tonight. Up next, we have Kevin Clark, another registered nurse coworker.
Yay, Kevin!
Kevin.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, showing your support for us, showing your support for the nurses, and most importantly, showing your support for the patients in this community. You have no idea what this means to us, for all of you to be here tonight to share this with us. As Jamie had said, my name is Kevin Clark. I'm a registered nurse of 15 years at this facility. Throughout that time here, I've worked in many different departments. I've done Tower 11. Primarily, throughout the majority of my career, I've done almost 9 years in ER and emergency medicine at this facility. I can tell you that specifically when Jamie talked about moral burnout, physical assault, I alone, in my own experience, was assaulted 7 times within a 2-year period. Think about that. One person, that many times. 300 of us here. You can do the math. Although the ER is no longer my primary unit, I can tell you that I'm all too familiar with the unfair practices as far as staffing goes, not only in the emergency department, but in every single unit in this hospital. Before UPMC took over back in 2013, Altoona Regional had the epitome of staffing ratios that were superb. I'm going to set an example for you. When I was in the ER at that time, the largest pod within the emergency department was the Blue Zone. We had 12 beds. On any given day, that pod alone was staffed with 3 RNs and 1 trauma technician. What that means for the layperson out here, you had an exceptional 1 RN for every 4 patients. That was a huge, huge difference. I can tell you back then that privacy, above all else, was the #1 priority, and we did everything in our power to ensure that every single patient that came into our care had privacy. Patients were more comfortable. Wait times were significantly less. Whenever this was Altoona Regional, I can tell you that our wait times in the ER were often a lot less than the national media. Now, you talk to anybody in our community, anybody that has spent time in this emergency department, it's not uncommon to wait for hours. And I'm not talking an hour or 2, 5, 7, 10 hours or more to get a bed. It's insane. Fast forward 12 years later to 2025, we've lost over 300 RNs. Nearly a third of the nursing staff in this facility is gone. Moral burnout, physical abuse. It's not something that just claims a life literally. These are people who showed up every single day to this facility trying to make a difference, trying to provide the care that this community deserved. And instead, They left. Why? Because the hospital turned their backs on us. Like a few of my coworkers had said already, it's not uncommon for that emergency department and every worker that shows up in there every single day to have multiple patients stacked on top of them. 7, 8, 9, 10 or more patients at a time. You could be Florence Nightingale yourself. You cannot, under any circumstances, effectively care for that many patients at one time. It's impossible. I don't care who you are. Back then, numbers like that were appalling and unprecedented. Hallway beds were taboo. You never heard of people being placed in hallway beds. Why? To ensure privacy, to ensure safety of patients, of staff alike. We've cried out to UPMC for many, many years, begging them for additional staff, begging them for things like metal detectors, things like wands at the entrances to keep us safe, to keep the community safe. And it took many years to get the bare minimum. This community, our patients, our staff deserve so much more. And despite, sorry, this is a little choking for me, despite UPMC's own employee nearly suffering a life-altering injury in their very own emergency department, UPMC has continued to decline and reject almost every single safety proposal that we've offered them. We've given them years of advice. We've given them years of suggestions, multiple surveys that have gone nowhere, multiple ideas how to keep patients safer, how to keep us safer, how to make this hospital better. Instead, like I said, patients are packed in hallways, sitting on uncomfortable litters for hours, sitting in chairs, receiving IV fluids and medications. You don't have to ask me for verification. Any single person standing out here today, any single person in this community who has been a patient at this facility in the last several years knows. They're seeing it in real time. It's unfolding daily and only getting worse. RNs are given more and more responsibility, more and more patients, and the resources for help aren't coming. For years, we've been told, we hear you, we see you. We're all brothers and sisters here. Yes, we are, but the help never came. Broken promises year after year after year. Cries and pleads for help that fell on deaf ears. Patient privacy in this facility continues to dwindle. The ability to provide UPMC's motto, exceptional healthcare, is nearly impossible. Frustrations continue to mount from patients, from family, from visitors, and from staff alike, creating the perfect storm for the potential for something drastic to happen. Exactly what happened a few weeks ago. That was a nightmare for every single person who worked in this facility. On that day, every single person who has dedicated their time, their energy, and their career to working at this facility felt that as if it was us. That was our brother that got attacked. That was our coworker. That was our friend. That was our family member. Hearing him get attacked sent shockwaves through that hospital for all the wrong reasons. And even now, the wake-up call hasn't come. Violence against healthcare providers, not only here, but in this country, is out of control. We recently did a survey within our very own facility here, and what we found was astonishing. Nearly 70% of the RNs throughout this facility had been assaulted at least once within the last year. Many of those incidences go unreported because you don't have the time to fill out the paperwork. You can't sit down and charge something, an incident report, when you have 9 other patients depending on you. The deck has been stacked against us for years, and enough is enough. This is our reality. We are the ones on the front lines every single day. We are the ones who are put in danger. But the executives, the administrators, are sitting comfortably and safely behind locked office doors. Something in healthcare is deeply wrong. Every single person who works at this facility, every single person who works at any healthcare facility can feel it. We know it. Now it's time for everybody in the community to see it, to know it, and to trust it. Hospitals are now owned by greedy corporations. Healing doesn't drive decisions anymore. Profits and executive salaries do. Those in charge don't touch the patients. They touch budgets. They touch money. They treat human lives, patients and staff alike, like inventory, paying more attention to numbers on a spreadsheet than putting the humanity back into our hospital as it was promised. Our bodies are breaking. Our minds were burnout. This has been ongoing for years. The cries are falling on deaf ears. We can't do this much longer. Instead of UPMC stepping up to the plate and making good of the promises that they not only told us, but this community, we're expected to be grateful for pizza parties, for donuts, for empty promises, and for heroes work here signs, as if that's going to make a difference. Rather than strictly enforcing protections from physical, mental, and verbal violence in this hospital. When staffing practices are inadequate, you get labeled as disruptive if you stand up for yourself, for your licensure, and for the safety of everyone in your care. If you stay silent, patients can and inevitably will get hurt. That is the choice that UPMC has given us. That's why every single one of us are here today. No more excuses, no more Band-Aids, no more smoke and mirrors, no more temporary solutions. We're tired of talking. We're tired of begging. UPMC is the largest healthcare corporation in this state. They have the moral and ethical responsibility to do better. They must do better. This is our community. These are our family members. These are our patients, and this is our home. It's up to every single one of us standing here today to stand up and to fight back and to demand better. We want the world-class healthcare that we were promised back in 2013, but have never received. We want to be able to provide the top-level care that we promise to our patients day in and day out. We want UPMC to step up, to be accountable, to be responsible, to invest not only in its nurses, but in this community. We want them to listen to us, to take us seriously, and to finally include us in the decisions that are made in this hospital that affect every single one of us, every single day. All of us standing here today show up to work every single day to make a difference. We wouldn't be here if we didn't care. We want this facility to be superb like it once was. We want to be able to set the example of what healthcare facilities can and should be again. We want these executives to step up to the plate. We want the administrative offices in UPMC Pittsburgh to step up and do better. We are no longer asking. We're demanding that UPMC give this community back the humanity that it expects, that it requires, and that it deserves. Thank you.
That's all. Thanks, Kevin. Up next, we have ALTOONA firefighter and union president of IAFF Local 299, Pat Miller.
Good evening, folks. What we just heard here, especially from the last speaker, man, if that doesn't hit home with what the hell's going on, I don't know what does. It almost brings a tear to my eyes. So, job well done. Job well done. Brothers, sisters, neighbors, and members of the community, my name is Patrick Miller, and I'm president of IAFF Local 299. Just a few short weeks ago, we gathered in this same spot discussing the safety and issues in the hospital back here. Well, guess what? We're gathering here tonight because something is deeply wrong, and it's been happening inside our hospital. And we refuse to look the other way one more day, one more hour, or one more minute. The violent attack on Travis Dunn wasn't... The violent attack on Travis Dunn wasn't just shocking. It was heartbreaking, infuriating, and absolutely 100% preventable. It was not an unpredictable tragedy. It was a direct result of years of understaffing, years of ignored warnings, and years of UPMC executives refusing to take the nurses seriously when they raised the alarm. Let me make this perfectly clear. This didn't happen overnight. This didn't happen in silence, and this sure as hell didn't happen without warning. Travis was hurt in a system that nurses have been saying and begging UPMC executives to fix. For years, ALTOONA nurses have said, we are not safe. Our patients are not safe. We need help, we need support, and we need the staffing, security, and accountability. And at every turn, UPMC executives refused to listen. Nurses brought forward proposal after proposal, simple basic protections that any reasonable healthcare system should embrace without hesitation. Safe staffing and retention so nurses can spend real time with their patients and give real care, like they should be doing. A zero tolerance policy for violence, panic alarms in every department, weapons detections at all public entrances, transparency around violent incidents, more trained security personnel, not fewer. Not one of these are radical, not one is too excessive, not one is an option. But UPMC executives again said no to them all. And while they said no, the reality inside the hospital got worse. Nurses were pushed and continue to be pushed to their physical and emotional limits. More patients with fewer hands on deck to serve the needs of the ill. Longer wait times, more frustration, more dangerous situations, and more violence. And let's remember, folks, and I sound like a damn broken record because I said it last time. In 2013, when they took over, they were going to do the $250 million to invest in this community, the promised growth, the stability, and the elevated standard of care that everyone in this area deserves. But here's what they actually did, and I'll repeat it like last time. 300 nursing positions cut, a total of 900 jobs gone, and they kept patient volumes the same, if not higher. You don't need to be a healthcare expert to understand what happens when you cut staff and maintain the same workload. You don't need a study. You don't need a briefing. Just need common sense to realize when things fall apart. And in healthcare, when things fall apart, people get hurt. Now let's talk about the executives, the people with the power to fix this but have chosen not to. Last year, the CEO over $11 million, we've heard. 24 non-clinical executives made over $1 million each. The $50 million jet they're flying over now probably. And they paid their former CEO nearly $30 million after he left the job. Meanwhile, the people who actually care for the patients, the nurses, the techs, the support staff are working short, working scared, and working without the protections that they've been begging for. This isn't just a financial imbalance, folks. This isn't just bad management. It is a complete and total moral failure at the hands of UPMC executives. UPMC is not struggling financially. They're not fighting for survival. UPMC is not choosing between safety and bankruptcy. They made $349 million in profit in just the first 6 months of this year. They have resources, they have the capacity, and they have the damn ability to fix this immediately. What they are failing at, and I said it last time, is the want and will to do so for our nurses. Well, tonight, we provide them with something stronger than corporate will. We provide them with community will. We provide them with worker will, and we provide them with union will. Because tonight is not just a visual, my union brothers and sisters. Tonight is a stand. Tonight is a message. Tonight is a line in the sand that UPMC executives can no longer ignore or spin or talk their way around. Let our message echo beyond this rally. Let it travel to every boardroom and every executive suite in the UPMC system. We stand with Travis Dunn. We stand with Altoona nurses. We demand safe staffing and real security, and we demand accountability from the UPMC executives. And we will not stop. And we will not stop until these workers in this community is protected. This community is watching. This union is watching. And every worker inside the hospital deserves better than what they've been given. We don't need a leapfrog hospital review to tell us what we already know. UPMC Altoona is in crisis. Our nurses are living proof. How you doing? Our nurses are living proof of the daily issues plaguing this hospital, our hospital, the staffing shortages, the unsafe conditions, and the constant strain on frontline workers speak louder than any rating could. So let me end with the truth that UPMC executives need to hear clearly, and loudly, and without apology. Sorry, it's a little cold.
Keep going, brother.
And to quote Stephen Covey, you cannot explain your way out of something you behaved yourself into. And right now, UPMC's irresponsible behavior is on full display in this building right here. It's time for action, it's time for investment, and it's time for responsibility. And we will not stop fighting until UPMC delivers it. Brothers and sisters, it's truly an honor to speak in front of you again. We will continue to fight. Stay loud, stay united, and stay union. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much, Pat, and to everyone who spoke, everyone who came out tonight, we appreciate it so much. In closing, I want to point out again, in the Altoona Mirror article, it says many of our surrounding hospitals got an A grade for safety. UPMC is the largest health system with the most resources. They can make sure we get an A for safety next year. They have that ability. They just need to agree to our staffing and safety security proposals. This is our time. It is our time to hold UPMC executives accountable to keep their promises, to invest in safe staffing and security for Altoona. No nurse should fear for their life while caring for others. No patient should suffer because there aren't enough nurses to provide safe, quality care. Thank you again for coming out tonight.
Can I get the names of the executives?
Guys, we have a bunch of hot cocoa back here by this tree. There's a table. Hot cocoa, cookies. We have yard signs you can pick up and take home, put in your yard to support the nurses as we go through contract negotiations.
Okay.
Who are the names of the executives? What are their names?
The CEO of UPMC is Leslie Davis.
The CEO of UPMC is Leslie Davis? Thank you. Okay, that was a big question for everybody. The CEO of UPMC is Leslie Davis. Okay, so there you have it. This is the cameraman. We're going to take some pictures. Can I get, like, what happened to Travis real quick?
I wouldn't have that.
Who would have that?
Somebody that worked in one of the nurses. I don't.
I'm trying to find out what happened to Travis. Maybe. Can I find out what happened to Travis? Who do I talk to find out exactly what happened to him? I know he got attacked, but what was the circumstances? Who do I?
Do you have like the exact circumstances of Travis' attack?
Of what happened with Travis?
I do not, because I was not there. And
Who was there here? That was.
what staff
Who,
was there?
yeah, because I'm trying to find out what exactly happened to Travis.
I do not know what staff was there.
I know he was attacked, but what happened?
Yeah. Jamie can probably speak.
Him?
He ran away too.
Him? No? Kevin.
If you're looking for a yard sign, we're back behind the tables over there.
Jamie is in charge of this in the purple hat. He will probably have the best answer. Okay. Well, I might drive.
Jamie, can you tell me what happened to Travis? Exactly.
I can't give any details about that.
So, who has the details? So, all we can say is he was attacked?
Yeah. I mean, what was published, we can't, as healthcare workers can't talk about specifically.
So, who do we talk to? The CEO.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to do it with Travis's family.
Travis's family. Okay. All right, there you have it. Nobody wants to talk about actually what happened to Travis.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so nobody wants to talk about exactly what happened to Travis. Nobody witnessed nothing is exactly what happened to Travis. All we know is that he was attacked by a 6'11", I think they said. Gigantic guy. So would have been an interesting encounter with cameraman. That would be for sure. 6'11". That's my speed. But nobody wants to give out details about what happened to Travis. So with that, this is cameraman.
All right, well,
And
drive home.
you heard what happened. See you on the flip side. Oh, and to the haters, I'm still here, baby. Okay, this is the cameraman from UPMC.